How's that? Whoa. Too loud. There we go. How's that? What? Very good. Okay, just going to go ahead and just give you a few comments and show my appreciation for everybody showing up here today. But first, for those of you that have not met my wife, this is my wife, Sarah. Sarah and I have been married 18 years, and our son, RJ, is 16. And he is out at the Outer Banks, actually playing with his one-member Phil Martin on his one membership out at the Nags Head today. So they wanted to take advantage of that one membership. I said, but what about my coming to the club? We're going to play it twice. And then our daughter Jocelyn, she's 12, and she's a competitive clogger. And she come up to me and she put her hand on my shoulder and she goes, "You know, Dad, I really have to go to dance." And I said, "Oh yes, I want you to go to dance." But Sarah's here with me tonight, and being in the golf and hospitality industry, being a golf professional, you have to have a very understanding mate, and I have the best one. So, and for those of you that, there are a lot of members in here that have been here for a long time. 1991, 92, 93. And then there's some members in here that have just joined. And, there's a story that I like to tell. It kind of identifies who I am. And I know that some of you have already heard this, but I'd like to share it with you. So, I started playing golf when I was 6 years old. And the reason that was is because my dad joined a private country club. And it was a great place to be. It was a great place to grow up. I didn't take anything for advantage. I was the junior golfer. I was the junior member. I wanted to be at that club every single day. And, even when I was 6, which I say that I'm not that old, but even when I was 6, they gave you medals when you did something good. I mean, they gave you a medal. When you did a nice chip, they gave you a medal. When you did a nice drive, they gave you a medal, and you could line your hat up with them all. And I wanted to be the most decorated junior golfer that was there. And there weren't a lot of junior golfers playing on Saturday morning either. There weren't a lot of junior golfers playing on Saturday and Sunday morning. But there I was. I was on the first tee with all my decorations, just wanting some adult to say, "Hey, he knows how to play golf. Let's take him." But then one day, I started asking a lot more questions, and I got to know the pros very well. They knew that I was into golf. Then they asked me if I wanted to do some caddying, and I said, "Yeah, I'd like to do caddying. What do? You show up in the morning, you carry somebody's golf bag, you go walk 18 holes, and we pay you. You paying? I'm in." Right? And caddy shacks did exist. I mean, they did exist. But I wanted to be the first one there every Saturday. I was the first person there on the caddy shack. And there was a reason that I wanted to be the first one there. And that was because if you go out at 6:30 in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning and you go get that loot, you make it back around and that bench is still there. And that's twice the pay. So I wanted to do that. I got to grow up at that country club and play in a lot of events and be a part of it, but I was pretty passionate about working there and doing more things. And, and then as I got a little bit older and playing, the pro came to me and he said, "Ray, we have a job for you." I'm like, "Okay." And this is where I get my most famous nickname in life. This is where I get my most famous nickname in life. Because my name is Ray Reyes, but this is when we first started talking about the driving range. And the pro said, "Ray, we want you to get into this vehicle that's covered, right? we want you to go out onto the driving range and drive around and pick up all of the golf balls. And I said, I'm 15 years old and you want me to drive. I'm in. I'm in. And so here I am, picking this driving range, picking up all the golf balls. I think I had a Walkman going, you know, and all that. And all I would ever hear was, where's Ray Range? Where's Ray Range? Where's Ray Range? We got to get the range picked. Where's Ray Range? Right? And I wanted to hear that. I wanted to be the person picking that driving range because I wanted to do a good job at it. You know, later on, and I still tell employees the story this day, later on it was because I learned that nobody else wanted to pick the driving range. But that was okay, I did a good job. But the pro asked me if I wanted to come inside and fold merchandise and answer phones and be on the inside. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. I said, what's the bag storage for? Because I think I'd like to do something in the bag storage, right? Because we first go into the golf shop, you know, like, oh, I got to answer phones and, you know, all this stuff. He goes, you want to work in the bag storage? I said, sure. So he goes, all right, well, let's take you to the bag storage. And bag storage is where you store all the clubs and, you know, there. And we got to the door, right? The sacred door of the bag storage. Nobody can go in there unless you're staff, right? And we got to the door, and he opened up these doors, and there it was. Rows of golf bags. I mean, stacked too high, just rows of golf bags like lockers, right? And I'm in awe. I'm just standing there going, wow. I mean, look at all these clubs. And he says, and I go, well, what do I got to do? And he goes, we want you to wash all the golf bags. And I said, I'm in. I'm in. I'll wash these golf clubs, right? And to this day, I am the best club scrubber you will ever. Okay, because I used to take those clubs and I used to polish them. You know, now they got fancy tools that do it really quick. But Raymond Reyes, he did it really good. We got our nails in there, and it was really neat. I mean, you got to, if you've never been, for those that have been part of golf, been there and stored your clubs, it is a really neat thing. I did go into the golf shop. I did get to answer the phones. I got to fold merchandise. It was a really good time. The summer before my end of my high school and going to college was when I had big conversations with my dad. And he said, you're going to go to Ferris State University. It's in Michigan. You should go there. It's just down the road, 3 hours. Ferris State University was the #1 recognized school by the PGA of America to groom golf professionals, to be there. And here I am saying, I'll go play golf there. And sure, I'll go play golf there. So that summer, I'm going to Ferris, but now I've got this whole summer that I'm going to work. And the green superintendent took an interest in me. And he said, hey, you're going away to college, you've done all this in your life, I want you to come work for me out on the maintenance crew. I said, okay, great, I'd love to do that. And you know, I got to mow the greens every single day that summer. That was my job, and that was the best job ever, because it's the most important job. I mean, it's the most important job is mowing those greens, because if you make a mistake, everybody's going to see it. So I felt very honored that he let me mow the greens every single day one summer. He would take me around on a golf cart, and he would say, see this tree, see the leaves, this means. See this grass, this is what this means. Let's take apart this carburetor on a weed whacker. Well, okay, but we did. I mean, that's the things that was going on. So, I'm going to Ferris State University, and I'm playing golf because I was a pretty good golfer in high school. At least that's what they told me. And I was a pretty good golfer in high school, and I had this vision that I was going to a golf school to play golf, right? And it's Ferris State. It's the #1 PGA school. So I get to Ferris, and I get on campus, and at the time, professional golf management, they only had 3 universities. It was Ferris State, Mississippi State, and New Mexico State. And I get there, and there are 450 kids in the program with the same handicap as me. And I said, where did all of these good golfers come from? Because at the time, I thought I was the only good golfer. Right? But it was at that time that I realized that I was going to be working in golf instead of playing golf. Because there are a lot of good golfers out there, and it takes a different type of, even everything, just to be in that category of playing golf. But Ferris State was one of the first, and there are 27 universities now that have the professional golf management program. When I left college, they had only had in Penn State. But Ferris did a good job. They gave you business degrees. So I got a Bachelor in Science and Business with a major in marketing and a minor in professional golf management. So it was a great business degree. It was a great way to groom us up. And, you know, there are different degrees that you can get out there now. Great program to be a part of. I could not have done it without my dad. My dad stood by me, and I was, you know, I had no clue about life. I really didn't. Because Ferris, what you did was is you went to school, and then you went out into the field and you worked. And you worked off of relationships that were built from other golf professionals that were in these programs. So here I am, after my first year of college. I'm 19 years old, and I'm going to Oyster Reef Country Club in Hilton Head Island. I'm 1,000 miles from home. I don't know anybody, and I'm like, yes, this is great, right? What a great, awesome school. I'm in Hilton Head, right? I'd never been south of Michigan at that point. I'd been west, but I had not been. So there's a couple of little stories about living in Hilton Head, but you know, that's where I learned how to play golf. I think I was telling Steve the story the other day. The first 2 months I was down there, I stood on a backdrop. And I was good at the backdrop. Right? You felt good when you came to the backdrop, and you felt good when you left. Okay? But the other thing was I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody when I got down there, so I was a little nervous. So I went and got a part-time job at Harris Teeter. I worked in the produce, so I worked golf, went to Harris Teeter, worked golf. And that lasted for about 2 months. And then somebody said, hey, how would you like to go play Harbor Town? I said, what's the Harbor Town? Oh, how would you like to go play Long Cove? Oh, okay. How would you like to go down to the Kiowa Islands and play down there? So I ended up working at Oyster Reef and playing a lot of golf before it was all over with, because I realized that was part of it, was playing the golf. I went back to school, had to go back into your programs, your degrees, and now they're going to send you out. And I'm 21 years, I'm sorry, I haven't turned 21 yet. But I'm heading to Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm going to go work at Baltimore Country Club on the north side. I worked in a place called Timonium, and I lived in Cockeysville. I didn't even know what Cockeysville was, but I lived there. Right, for you that you know. But I turned 21 in the Inner Harbor. I mean, what a great place, right? 21. I'm from Michigan. I'm 21 years old, turning 21 in the Inner Harbor. I mean, it was. And Baltimore Country Club was a great experience. I mean, it really was. Went back to school. I had already gained a lot of my hours in internship, and so now I'm getting closer to graduating. And they say, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, when I graduate, I'm going to go live in the Metro Detroit area. And they say, the Metro Detroit area? I said, yeah, man, I'm Metro now. I've got to be in the Metro area. I've done all this. And I said, well, I'm going to go work at the busiest I wanted to go work at the busiest public golf course in the Metro Detroit area. And they said, well, why do you want to go work at the busiest public golf course? And I said, because I don't have any experience with it. I've been in private golf all my life, and I don't know what that's about. Plus, there was a good friend that went through the Ferris program that had a connection there. His father had owned it or something. And it was only a 9-hole public golf course, but they wanted somebody there. I said, I'll go try it. It was a little golf course called San Marino Golf Course in Farmington Hills, Michigan. And it was a 9-hole. It's an 18-hole now, but it was a 9-hole. And they do 350 people there a day on that 9-hole golf course in the rain. Okay, so I mean, that's how many people play golf there. And I never worked one day there, because here's what happened. I got to San Marino, and the pro there said, hey, we're building a golf course. We met these developers, and we're building a golf course. How would you like to go work and help build a golf course? I'm in. Right? I'm in. And so I helped. I went over, and the golf course was called the Maples of Novi. And pretty special there, because that's where Sarah and I met. But the Maples of Novi was a regulation golf course, 150 homes in a dirt parking lot. And I was young, and I didn't know what that meant. All I know was there was a dirt parking lot, right? And it was a great experience, because I worked for these developers. I actually stayed there for 2.5 years, because I got to help build a parking lot, build a clubhouse, build a membership, build relationships in the community. And it was just, what a great experience for somebody that's just coming out of college. And while I was working at the Maples Club, at the time, Sarah and I were living in Milford, about 15 minutes ago. Were we living? We were living about 15 minutes away in a town called Milford. And I was reading in the Milford Times that they were building a golf course at Camp Dearborn. And I, of course, said, where is Camp Dearborn? And Camp Dearborn was a 700-acre park that was enclosed and strictly private to the city of Dearborn residents. And I went down that road, and there was a trailer on the back end of the golf course, and I started knocking. And I said, I want to be the golf pro here. I've got experience. And I knocked on the door, and this person opened the door. His name was Jim Dooling. I had no idea who he was. All I know is that I wanted the job. Mr. Dooling said, yes, 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 yes. But I didn't get the job right away. But I came back a month later, and I knocked on the door. And I said, hey, I want to be the golf pro here at this brand new golf course. They were just starting the demolition of it. I mean, it was a huge demolition. It was a 27-hole golf facility they were going to build. And the second time I went in there, he said, well, tell me who the president of the Michigan PGA is. And he asked me another question about the PGA. And, you know, I hadn't got my membership yet. I'd just gotten my membership yet, and things were new. You know, I'm supposed to be all involved in that. You're really supposed to know. I went home. I did my studying. About a month later, I came back and I said, and I knew it all. But I also knew that I was standing in front of the secretary of the Michigan PGA at the time, and Mr. Dooling ended up hiring me. And Mr. Dooling and I built Mystic Creek, and he went on to be vice president, president, honorary president, and ran for Secretary of PGA of America, all while he and I shared an office together. And it was my mentor in life. It was just a great experience, because in the early to mid-90s, golf was booming. I mean, golf was really booming in the early to mid-90s. Mr. Dooling, he and I are still very close. He's still a mentor of mine. And he went on to build 7 other golf courses. He had a management company, and he went on to build some. There were people that were in our Mystic Creek that went on to be general managers and helped build some other facilities. And It was just a great time to be in golf, and Mr. Doolin really groomed me, and of course that's why the PGA is so close to my heart, is because Mr. Doolin really made sure that it was. And Mr. Doolin, who went on to be part of the Michigan PGA, you know, Ray got to stand up next to him and be sergeant at arms for all of those meetings. You know, so I mean, it was a very good PGA professional with Mr. Doolin. I had left there, and I decided to move out of Mr. Doolin's management company because I wanted to try it myself. And I had a friend that came to me and he said, "Hey, we found some friends that are building a golf course. How would you like to come help me?" Or I'm sorry, they're buying a golf course. I have a friend that's going to buy a golf course. How would you like to come help me? And at the time, I said, "Well, will you pay me this?" Kind of thinking, oh, that would catch him off guard, right? And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, we're in." So I started working for a management company called Par 3 Enterprise, and we actually had 2 golf courses, and it was a friend of mine and his. And one of the golf courses was an established golf course with a clubhouse and a pool and everything. The other clubhouse was, it was an 18-hole golf course, but the clubhouse was, it was, I say it sometimes, but it was a saloon. I mean, it really was. It was a saloon. And we went in there, and it was on the main trail out of Metro Detroit, kind of a belt line or whatever, but we ended up going in there, and we remodeled it. We painted the ceilings. We started a restaurant. We made a menu. We taught everybody how to eat. That's really what we did. And this golf course really turned around. Within 1 year, these buyers that we were working for said, "We're going to buy another golf course." My friend came to me and said, "We're going to buy another golf course." And he goes, "What do I tell them?" I said, "You tell them we have people in place." That's what you tell them. We ended up getting 3 golf courses. They were 90 miles apart, and there were 2 of us, right? And, you know, it brings back a lot of memories because Jocelyn at the time was just born. And, you know, when you're working that hard, there's a lot of things that you have to have an understanding made. You got to have kids, and you're gone a lot, right? I ended up only working for Par 3 for 2 years because it was very, very difficult, especially with the 90-mile drive. And so I decided that I was going to go and be my own general manager, just one facility. So I ended up meeting Brian Mansour, who was out of Flint, Michigan, and they owned the Captain's Club at Whitfield. And the Captain's Club was an 18-hole championship golf course made by Ray Floyd. But it had a big banquet facility. It had a restaurant. It did a lot of tournaments. And I ended up working for Brian Mansour for almost 4 years. And it was a really good job. You know, my dad told me when I graduated Ferris and I became a golf professional, my dad said to me, "If you're going to stay in this business, you need to go south." Right? And I didn't listen. But in 2007, I'm working for Brian Mansour at the Captain's Club, and I told him that we wanted to go south. We wanted to go to Raleigh. Sarah has a sister here with kids the same age as our kids, so that we had cousins here. And we wanted to move south. We wanted to go to Raleigh. And Brian Mansour said to me, he said, "You can stay with me until you find what you're looking for." And that was one of the most meaningful things that's ever happened to me in my life. So I started networking down here and moving in. And is Leanne here? Is Leanne Lee from the chamber? First thing I did is I plugged into the Holly Springs chamber. I got myself familiar with what was going on in Holly Springs. I started calling all of the club court facilities, and I tell Steve this story. I say, I emailed every single pro in this area, and I told them that I wanted to come down here. And there were 2 pros that kept emailing me back. Didn't say they had anything right then, but they kept me in mind. They responded. and that was Tom Protz and Steve Ostroff. So even back in 2007, I was really trying to network around and find things out. I ended up knowing Gordon Digby, who was the first regional vice president of this area. He had actually worked for Mr. Dooling at one point in the Cincinnati area. I had a conversation with him. I told him what I was looking for. He was going to try to get me down to this area. He invited me down. I actually got in a vehicle with Danny Gwynn at 12 Oaks, and we rode that course because Club Corps was involved with that when it first started. And we'd already made a decision to move down here. And Sarah and the kids moved down in July. Things weren't going as fast with 12 Oaks. And then, right in August, I got a call from Gabe and Gordon that said, the pro at Devil's Ridge is leaving and he's moving on to a new place. And would you like to go there and interview for it? And I said, absolutely, I'm in. You know, I can go back and be that golf pro that I started out being, right? And I got the job. I mean, I've been here since September 9th, 2007. And I remember walking in that parking lot over there, and they were doing a double tee that day, and all I did is walk up to the tee, and I stood there and I just wanted to watch people. And it felt so good, you know. I always tell everybody that we got an opportunity. And when I say we, I mean my wife and I. Sarah and I have been married 18 years, and I couldn't do anything that I'm doing without her. Devil's Ridge. Devil's Ridge is the best job I've ever had in my life. And the reason that is because there's a quality of life here. There's a quality of life that I not only get to share with my family, but I get to share with all of you. Okay, so all of you have been my family all these years, and family to my family, right? I know within the first 2 weeks of me being here, I had a conversation with somebody. And they said, Jason Cherry was a good golf professional, and those are big shoes to fill. And he was our buddy. And I've had this conversation in my mind, and I've had it with my wife. And I said, I know that Jason Cherry would be proud that I came in here after he was here. Jason Cherry was a class guy, and I got to see everything that he did after that. We're at a time in our life right now where we're going to look at some opportunities. We're going to take a look at what's next for Ray Reyes and for Sarah. That's where we're at. We're just going to take a good look at life, and we're going to see what's next for us. I say it with great hope and anticipation that that's what's going to happen, but I also say it with sadness for leaving Devil's Ridge, because all of you are my family. All I know is you in Raleigh since I've been here. And we have so many memories about what goes on here at Devil's Ridge. I'm going to miss every single one of you. I'm going to miss all of the things that we've created together. Okay? I'm a year and a half away from life membership with the PGA of America. That means a lot, right? I've watched a lot of my friends. I've watched a lot of people get out of the golf and hospitality industry, right? But Steve can tell you, we've figured out a way how to survive in this industry. And that's what's most passionate about me is that I'm in this industry, and I want to stay in it. I want to be here. I want to be in it. Going to take a good look at everything, though. Going to take a look at the quality of life, our kids. You know, our son is driving now. He's 2 years away from college. Those things mean a lot. And we've been able to share that quality of life together. And I just want every one of you to know that I'm going to miss everything about this club. Everything about it. If I can tell you that I love each and every one of you, I do. So there are there's two things I'd like to end with, okay? Because I think that it's important for everybody to see it. Okay, I think it's important for everybody to see it. It's Thursday, July 24th. Hello, you've reached Devil's Ridge Golf Club. Today is Thursday, July 24th. The tee times are on schedule beginning at 6:30. The card rule of the day is going to be 90 and the driving range will be off the grass tees. If you'd like to speak to with a member of professional staff, you can press 1. Thanks and have a great day! What you didn't get to see was sometimes I'm moving around doing it, but I always look to see if there's somebody there. So the early ones are walking in or whatever, but you know, I really do enjoy doing those. I'll probably take that wherever I go, whatever I do. I really enjoy making those voicemails. And because so many people have made so many comments about it, I could not stop doing it. And I even, sometimes I laugh at myself in the morning and go, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. The best part is it's another beautiful day for golf at Devil's Ridge. I mean, really, that's what it is. It's not always there because it's been pouring rain, right? And I started out with, it's another beautiful day for golf, and it's pouring rain. I know people are going to say something. But I don't know if Johnny and Andy Ondeck are in here, but they listen to it because they play in the rain. So. But, and then the last thing is this. Last thing is this. I want everybody to know that I love each and every one of you, okay? And we're going to miss you. Okay? Go ahead, get inside your golf cart, head out to your home destination, have fun and play well! Just one last thing I'd like to say is, Dr. Mahar, are you here? Dr. Mahar here still? There he is over there. So, had to go to the dentist today, right? Trying to get all that stuff up. And talked to Dr. Mahar on Monday at a golf tournament, and I said, hey, I got to get this tooth pulled. Want to get it done. He goes, coming to the place Thursday. So I'm at his office at 11:30 today, right? And he goes, well, let's just get this out and we'll get you going. I go, you know I got to talk tonight, right? He goes, oh, you want to do this tomorrow? No, we better not do it tomorrow. We got to do it today. He goes, you want to be put to sleep? I said, put to sleep. Now I'm like, I haven't been a kid since I had something like that, right? And then I go, well, I don't know. I'm thinking about the speech is what I'm thinking about. Okay, it's all about the speech now. I got to say farewell. I don't know what to say to him, right? And then he goes, are you sure you don't want to be put to sleep? And I went, you asked me twice. I'm going to be put to sleep. But thank you, Dr. Mahar, for taking care of me today because I feel good. Thank you, everybody.